Hello, I'm Nicolas, and today in this video I wanted to show you how to start properly on ZBrush. So maybe you're new to 3D modeling and you want to create characters and creatures for video games or 3D printing. So I wanted to show you how to start properly because it can be very difficult. The first 10 minutes can be very tricky on ZBrush, so I think you should watch the entire video if you want to start on ZBrush with me. But first things first, when you launch ZBrush, you will have a home page here. So I suggest you to click here on the settings and just to change to show if updated, because each time you will launch ZBrush, it will appear and can be very annoying. So show if updated, it maybe once every 2 or 3 months, it will appear just once. So fine for me. So I will close it and I will close that too. Now let's talk about the UI. So as you can see, there are a lot of things here. So here is a canvas, so that's where you're gonna work. You have a space, a gray space. It really depends on the size of your screen. I will show you how to correct that. And on the right side, you have a space where you can put lots of things of your menu. So for example, it's tool that is by default on the right side, but I can also maybe take the stroke menu and I go here on the white symbol, as you can see, and I click and drag on release here, and now I have strokes and tools. The other thing, you have a left side panel also, so I can double click here and open it. For example, I have the brush menu. I can do the same thing. I can go on preferences, for example, drag it on the left, and like that, I can unfold this menu, and it's very handy, and I can close it if I want a bigger space to work. Now let's talk about the UI. If you just have a look at this part, so we have a lot of vertical icons, but maybe you don't see them all. Normally it's because maybe you have a small size of screen. So if you have a small screen, I really strongly suggest you to go to preferences and to go to interface, and you can open the UI here, and you have the first menu is button size. I really strongly advise you to go down. So if you're at 46, 48, you go down at a minimal number, so maybe 38 like me, and it will ask you to restart the brush, so do it. And when you will reopen, normally you will have smaller icons, so we will have more room to work, and it's very handy to know that. Another thing really important is I strongly advise you to keep ZBrush in English. Why? Because maybe like me, I'm French, I could use the French UI for ZBrush, but it's not properly translated. And the other thing is, if you are looking for help on YouTube, you will find 99% of UI, English UI on ZBrush, so you will be lost if you are looking for help. So just keep it like that. So you can go on preferences, and if you have another language than English, you can find here, you have normally the languages, okay? And you can switch back to get by default English. It would be really, really helpful for you. Another thing very handy with ZBrush are auto savings. They are called Quicksave. So you can set up your Quicksave here. By default, it's already set up. Normally it's about 20 minutes, the maximum duration. So each 20 minutes you will have an auto save of your file, but you can decrease that number if you're scared to lose many things. And you can also set up the number of maximum Quicksave files that you will have. Sometimes it can be really big. If you're working on a big project for many weeks, it can auto-save, and each time it's creating a new file, and can be a lot of volume on your hard disk. So sometimes it can be good to maybe put it to 50 or 100 max. And you can also click on the delete quick save and to trash them all. You can find the quick save here if you click on the Lightbox, and I will show you the Lightbox just after that. You can find here quick saves, and as you can see, I have a lot of things I've covered on my last video, the new Retopo brush. So as you can see, we have the things I've done on my ZBrush at that time. So each 20 minutes, I have like a snap snapshot of what I've done. Now let's talk about the Lightbox. So what is the Lightbox in ZBrush? It's a library, so you can find a lot of things about brushes, tools, texture. So it can be sometimes frustrating because it can be open when you start ZBrush. At first, I didn't know how to close it, so you have two ways to close it. It bother you, so you can just click on Lightbox again, or you can just go there on hide. You can hide it. So if I open it, I have recent, so I will find my latest works. I have projects, so you will find projects done by Maxon, so it can help you as a starter. You have tools, so you will find many things that you can use also for your project. Brushes, texture, so you can follow along and see what's inside each of them. So there are a lot of things that are built with ZBrush that can really speed up your workflow. So it can be interesting to have a look from time to time inside that. Last thing I wanted to show you, it's the ability of ZBrush to build your own interface is really powerful. So for example, I will just explain to you how I do that after that. Just to show you, I will just put something, and here you will have my interface, the same as yours, and I can also load my own custom UI. So as you can see, a lot of things that appeared on the bottom, on the left, and I reduce the number of icons on the right. So it's my own custom UI. So I can you can download it if you want in the link of the description. As you will see, I'll use them a lot because a lot of things can be really tricky to find inside ZBrush. So it's easier to put all the things here. So now you will see a lot of things can be tricky to remember. Oh, okay, it's there, on there, on there, and I have to unfollow this to find that. So if you want to use it, feel free. Otherwise, you can stick with the standard UI. So I will show you how to get back to the original standard UI. You can just open config and click on restore standard UI. Okay, so I'm back on the standard UI. And if I want just to customize it a little bit, I can just go to preferences, config, and then I will just click on enable customize. So like that, as you will see, spaces are open now on my interface. What I can do is maybe I open anywhere, and I can choose any button I want. So for example, the divide button, what I can do is I click on Control Alt and I keep them pressed, and I will now click and drag the divide button here, for example, and I release. Okay, so now I can do that with everything on my interface, and when I'm happy with it, I can just click again on Enable Customize. Okay, so now I can't add more buttons now because I say, okay, that's fine for me. And now what I can do, I have two things to do. First is click on Save UI. So you will save a .cfg. So it's the file for customization in ZBrush. So you can put it somewhere you will find it again, maybe on your desktop or on a folder called ZBrush, for example. Okay. And then the other thing is you can create more UI like that. You can do, for example, if you're doing art surface, you can put an interface with more tools about art surface. If you're doing things for video games, you can really create 2, 3, 4 custom interfaces if you want. You can load them. Okay, the one, or maybe I'm using this one. So okay. And if you want to get it back, so when you're restarting ZBrush, it will disappear. You will have again the standard UI. So if you click on store config, what you will do, it will be by default, you will have your custom UI which will appear. So each time you restart ZBrush, it will be your custom UI by default. And if you want to go back to standard UI, like I've done, you can just click and you can switch between the two. The one that you have clicked store config on your custom UI and the standard UI. So it's easy like that to really switch between. For example, I'm using my own custom UI, but for videos, if you have a standard UI, it's easier to show you where it is. So I can switch between the two. So like that, you can really create your own interface, and it's really easy to work with that on ZBrush. Now let's get started to 3D sculpting. So what we have to do is we have to remove this empty spaces all around are working. As you can see, I can't do anything here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I will go to preferences and click on Init ZBrush. You will see what will happen. It says pressing the yes button will fully reinitialize ZBrush. Okay, and now, okay, ta-da! I have more room now, so I'm happy with that. Why is that? Because ZBrush wasn't originally a 3D software, but a 2.5 painting software. So at first you were only painting 2D, faking 3D. Okay, so it's not like Blender or other software where you have an infinite ground and you can do a lot of things. Here you have to start like Photoshop with a scale. So you have to put maybe a width and a height. So if you go to document, you will see it's the original. Normally width and height is by default, it will give you something. If you have a big screen, you will have a larger empty space. So that's why we're doing preference in it like that. It will give you a new width and height that is full for your screen. So I hope it's clear, but just remember that it was not a 3D software at first. I will show you why. If you don't do anything, just click here. I think you already seen that it's boring. You say, oh, why is that? Because it's just by default a 2.5D brush. It's there. So when you see this big icon, it's just the last icon you have selected. So if I change to eraser brush, you can see, okay? But if I click on this big icon, I always open all 3D meshes on 2.5D brushes. So let's be clear. You won't use them a lot on ZBrush. You will use mainly 3D meshes. So I think the iPad already has removed or hide the 2.5D brushes because it can be very frustrating for people just to arrive on that and don't understand. We just want to put a sphere or something in 3D. So the interface will be changed in a few months or a year maybe. For the desktop version like the iPad, so you won't have that anymore. But for now, we are stuck with that. So as you can see, if I change to eraser brush, I can erase when I'm done. So it's 2.5D here, okay? I can just select again the first thing. I can change my alpha, for example. As you can see, I can paint. So I can change my matte cap, so how it lights. So I can just take something else. As you can see, I'm doing, it's not 3D, it's fake 3D. So it's 2.5D, okay? So, okay, but it's not what you wanted to do on ZBrush, of course. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna press Control N, okay, on your keyboard, and it will erase everything. Okay. Now, I will come back here, I will click here, and I will choose a 3D mesh. So for example, I will choose the ring 3D. Okay, nothing happened. Sometimes a primitive can happen already be here on the screen. In ZBrush, it's not the same. You have to come back on your Canva and click and drag until it's okay for you. But be careful because you can do that again. It's again 2.5D. Okay, so even if I'm choosing 3D meshes, it's still 2.5D. Why that? Because it's only 4 years after the launch of ZBrush that they introduced 3D, the 3D mode inside. So that's why you have to select it. So if I come back here, I have to click on Edit. That's the 3D mode. So I'm gonna click on Edit, and you will see that only one object is moving, the last one, because the last one is for ZBrush a 3D object. The other one are just painted objects. So I will do again Control N, okay, and now I have my objects. So I will show you again. I will start again with preferences in ZBrush, okay. So I will erase all of it, and just to show you what you have to do very simply, you just click here, you select a sphere, a cube, a cylinder, anything. I will stick with a ring. I will put it like that. I will click on Edit, and that's okay. Okay, so I'm on 3D. So as you can see, I can move around just by clicking outside of my object. Okay. If I want to move my object here, I just press Alt. I keep with Alt and I will move it along. I can stay with Alt and add Control, and I will zoom in, zoom out. That's the hardest part to do that. So just by clicking here, I'm moving my object with Alt and with Control. Okay, so Alt, left click, Control. So you can do with that if it's hard for you at the beginning. So you have the move, that's the zoom 3D, and the rotate. Okay, don't choose those ones. That's why I removed them from my interface, because it's about the canvas, it's not about your object. So if you're doing like a zoom, as you can see, it's pixelated now. So I will click on actual, but it's useless. So don't use them. Okay, so here you have the perspective mode, so you can add 50 focal lengths here. You can put a floor here. Okay, I will show you something that I've discovered maybe 5 years ago after starting ZBrush. You have the X and Z axis there that you can choose. So really, we can't see it really. So if I press X here, as you can see, okay, and Z axis over there. So you can use them. It's a grid, and you can put image references on it. So that can be handy. So we have a camera, so we can lock the camera also. Frame can be very easy also very handy to use, because if I'm lost, where is my 3D model, I don't know, you can just click here or press F. As you can see, up, it's coming back. So okay, what a relief. If I want to show my polygons, I can click here on polyf. As you can see, we have now the wireframe of my objects. And other thing here, it really matters when you have several layers. So you can hide one of them, you can see transparency inside one. Okay, so I will show you later. So now I told you, let's get started, but you can't sculpt right now. Okay, why is that? Because if you click here, you will have this warning: to enable sculpting, please convert this 3D primitive to a polymesh 3D by pressing the Make Polymesh button in the tool palette. So it's not very easy for beginners to understand what they are talking about. So you have the button here. Why is that? Because at first, when you just drop a primitive like we did, and you click on the edit button, you have what it's called a primitive. What is a primitive? It's like a mathematical shape that you can do things really easily with ZBrush. You can initialize the scale, you can do a lot of things. When we will click on Make Polymesh 3D, it's like, okay, now it's a sculpting mode, you can't come back. Okay, so I will show you the powerful on initialization of a primitive just before clicking on Make Polymesh 3D. If it's not clear, don't worry, you will see with me, follow along. So I'm here on this ring, and I can go here on Initialize. So I don't click yet on Make Polymesh 3D. And here I have some options. So if I want to make, we show you, I will make a donut, I will make pastas, and I will make a corn. Okay, so show you the radius. For example, on Initialize, I can move it, and look at that. So as you will see, you have an initializer for each primitive, and you can do things that really unique on each mesh. So that's funny to do. So I've done my donut, for example, like that. Okay, so maybe I will do I think a donut tutorial just like a Blender Guru. Okay, so my donut is here. So now I have my coverage. So I will do a pasta. So I will take my coverage and go down. Okay. Oh, pasta. Okay. And now I will do a corn. So I will come on scale and move it. Okay. Okay, so I will hide the floor. And why am I doing that? It's because when we will sculpt, it will be sometimes harder to get a really clean shape like we're doing now really easily with Initialize. But you have to know that you can do that on Initialize. That's why I'm showing you that. And what I can also tell you is each time you're doing an initialization, it will be switched to a new object, but you won't see it. Like example, for example, our original ring is here, and the one I've done is here. So you can come back each time to the original ring and do another move. So if I change the radius again, as you can see, now I'm here. And my original ring is here, but now I have two instances. So that's really handy. So I will switch to another primitive to show you the capabilities. I will choose the cylinder, for example. So I have a cylinder like that. And with a cylinder, it's really cool. You can do an inner radius. I will show you. Oh, okay. And the other thing, you have a taper, so you can do that also. Okay. I can change also the topology. So I can go there on divide. So I can really create really with few polygons clean meshes, as you can see, something like that, for example. Maybe for VR or things like that when you need really low polygon count. So that's fine. But I will now take my sphere, okay? So with the sphere, as you can imagine, there are less things you can do. I can do a coverage, okay? But I will stay with this one, and now what I want to do is to show you how to sculpt. So what I will do is I will click on make polymesh 3D, sorry. And now I have my sphere. Didn't change much, okay? But now, as you can see, my original sphere was here, sphere 3D, and now I'm on PM 3D. So each time you're clicking on make polymesh 3D, PM 3D is polymesh 3D. So it's now a mesh that is enabled for 3D sculpting. So what is 3D sculpting in ZBrush? I will show you. Just by pressing S, you can change the size of your draw size of your brush. And I have my brush enabled. By default, it's the standard one. So I will show you what it is. I will just zoom in a little bit. And okay. So now I'm sculpting. Okay. If you don't like the red shape, you can change it to something. I like I'm using a lot basic and basic material too. So you have madcap materials which are already pre-lighting. So you have lights, okay, like HDRI inside the material. So it's pre-lighting. You have those that are really standard. So you can have this basic material too, which is great. You have a little bit of light, so specularity, or the basic material, which is really gray. So that's cool to work with. And you can also use Redshifts presets, but you have to install Redshift first. It's a renderer engine made by Baxon, so okay, not by default it's enabled. So you have to have a valid license and maybe a package with with Maxon, and it's CPU based, so it can be a long time to wait to have a proper render. Okay. So I will stick to my basic material here. And so like that, we are starting to sculpt, and it's great. Okay, so few things to know first. You have like a guy over there. It's called the cam view. So you can just click on him, and like that, you're sure that you're working really face to your model. Okay, so if now I click on transform and I activate my symmetry, I can work in symmetry, and I'm sure that I'm on the right X symmetry. So I'm here, I can change to Y, for example, or Z. Okay? You can come back each time you've done something just by clicking here and coming back to the original shape. Okay, if I'm clicking here again, okay, I'm working here. I can also just start my symmetry just by pressing X on my keyboard. So if I'm here again, X, okay, I don't have it anymore. I press X, it's working. I will just be very quick about brushes. So you have tons of brushes that you can select. You can download them on internet. You can purchase them. A lot of artists have done many brushes, but I'm in the school of maybe you should try less and really get to know them, their capabilities. and really with 7-8 brushes you have all the thing required. So if you want to get my brushes shortcut, so I'm pressing 1 2 3 4, you know, the numbers just above A Z E R on the keyboard. Okay, I'm using them. So if you want, you can download them also in the description of this video. You can go there and you have normally hotkeys, and you can just load. It's a text file called hotkeys, and you will be able to have the same as I'm using. So one is for the standard. So what is the standard is okay, but it's just used to play with alphas. So I will show you maybe in another video how to use that. But I wanted to stay short, or I think it's not that short. So this one, it just really matters for things like that. So you can play with alphas and you can just launch things really cool. Okay, but not today. So okay, for this one, the second one is one of my top 3 brushes is the move. So you can play on, you can do shapes really quickly, very funny to do, and it's maybe the one you will use the most. So move is really cool. Okay, so now let's talk about my one-time favorite brush, which is number 3, clay buildup. So with that I do nearly everything. So with that you can just put strips of clay, and you can just here you can decrease or increase the intensity, so you will put less clay. Okay, what you can do is you can really quickly create shapes, okay, like that. As you can see, it's really easy to do. So that's maybe the one I'm using the most for creating characters. Okay, so after that you have the fourth brushes, which is the dam standard. So the one like you will do really clean things like that. You can cut, you can really do precise work, so very good to use it. Number 5, you have the flatten. So if you like to the art surface, you like to do stones, you like to do armors, things like that, you can play with it and you can really create really flatten things, as you can see. And you can, if you like this one, you can have harder brushes. So for example, if I'm go there and you can press on the keyboard, if you know the name of your brush, you can take the H polish and it's even stronger. As you can see, maybe you're not seeing, but I don't have enough. So after that, we have the number 6, which is pinch. So pinch is very handy also. As you can see, I will come here and look at that. Very handy. And number 7, it's the opposite. You have inflate, so you can come here and inflate where you want. So you can recross shapes or you can open them. So with those 7 brushes, you can do a lot. So I hope you like this video. Just follow along, just try to create some primitive to play with it. Just then you will make a polymesh 3D and we start sculpting and use the 7 brush I'm using, or play with all of those brushes that you can find. You can download them if you want, but I really strongly advise you just to stick with the 7 I told you and just to get used to it and you will be fine. See you in the next video. Bye bye.